Okay, what we have here is an app that we've called the Restaurant Picker, as you can see right here. And we're going to go through the different things that we have and the code that goes along with it. So first I'm going to show you the different screens we have. When we start up the app, we have this first screen here where you can log in. You have username, password, login. If you don't have an account, we have a create account that you can click, take you to another page. So when we're doing that, if we hit create an account, then we're going to open up this right here, take you to this page where you can put in your name, last name, username, password, confirm password, email, and register. Once you've registered, then we can go to this screen right here where it shows the list of the restaurants that you have set for your username and password, which also includes a floating action button that allows you to add a new restaurant. So let's look at some of the code for this. So our first one we have here is our login. This is the first screen. Of course, we have the different places where the user can edit it, their username, password. We have the text create account, which they can click on to create a new account, and of course the button to log in. So we're looking through this. On the onCreate method, we have make sure you set it to the login screen, wire our widgets, set our listeners. Won't spend a lot of time on that because it's not very interesting. And then of course connecting with the backend list, which is our online database that we're using. A lot of this code we're getting from their API that they provide for you, so we don't have to figure all that out. Some of this stuff, app ID, app API key, is stuff that they provide for us, but if we wanted to actually keep this anonymous, if we were to post the code, we could just not supply the code that has this stuff in it. It allows it to be anonymous. Okay, there's our listeners, of course, pretty standard. Setting our listeners, and of course wiring our widgets like you always would, just making sure that the names here are the same as they are in the XML file. And then on click, so if we click something on the screen, there's two options. If you remember, we have the option to log in and the option to create a new account. So we would say if they click the login button, then we are going to log in with backendless, which we will look at in a second. We created this method that allows you to log in. If they click new account, then we actually want to take whatever username they've put in there and we want to transfer that over to the login screen or the registration screen, and that's why we created this intent. So let's say you put your username in, then you hit create account, that username will go over to the new screen. And then we'll start this activity, which basically goes to a registration. Okay, so then how are we going to log in with our backend lists, our online database? We are going to take our username, get it, whatever we put in there, and we're going to check first that the password actually equals that the password and the username have something. So we're saying if the password equals nothing or the username equals nothing, then we're going to say, hey, you got to enter your username and password, put a toast, and then close it, or return nothing basically. Okay, otherwise, if they do it correctly, we're going to go down here and we're going to create a new intent, which is going to go ahead and then start the activity of registering and taking this over there with it. If there's any sort of issue on the backendless part, then we are again going to get the message from backendless, whatever that message is, this fault. We are going to get that message and display it for them. And this is what actually goes and connects with backendless. Again, a lot of this code we just get straight from them, no big deal. They provide it for us. And of course, as long as everything's okay here. If the codes line up, then we get the username, set the username, we're done. So that's creating both our on the backend list end as well as on the our other class over here. So let's go. If they click register for a new account, then we're going to go for the registration activity. That screen will look like not that. Let me open it. Okay, it looks like this, where the user can enter their first name, last name, username, password, confirm password, email, and then the register button. So we go over here. We can look at this class over here. And we have all the things that they can put in: their first name, last name, username, password, confirm their password, their email, and then of course the button. So we're looking at this. Of course, again, we're going to set our layout to the registration layout in the XML, as always, wire our widgets, because we're for sure going to have to send some information. They're putting in their name, password, email. We are going to create an intent to send that. Okay, and then looking over here, if they basically click the register button, then we're going to call on this method register with backend list, which is, of course, that's going to take care of doing it on the backend list side in the database. That's us wiring our widgets. And then a few things here in our wiring our widgets, we do want to check after we've done that. Sorry, this is not us wiring our widgets. This is registering with backend lists. So we're going to get all the information that we need. You see get text to string. And we're going to check first that the password actually equals the confirmed password. So you look at our if statement that says if password equals confirmed password with the not thing in front. So we say if they do not equal, we're going to say password mismatch and return nothing. Okay, but if everything's fine, so we create a new backend list type user, set everything that we need to set here, the email, the password, the first name, last name, username, and that's going to allow us to send it to backend lists, which we are going to do here. So again, a lot of this stuff we're getting from them, and we're going to go ahead and if everything's fine, we're going to, this is standing for registration, success, and finish. So we're going to actually register them and finish. If there's some issue on backend list's side, again, it will send a message. We will send back that message to them. And this is going to actually register the user. Okay, so again, this is going to call on this method that says registration, success, and finish with a backend list user type called user. Of course, we are sending info, so we're going to create an intent. We're going to put the result, whatever's in the intent, send it back, and then finish that. So it closes the activity. So that's all there is to our registration. Second thing that could happen, if you remember, if you already have an account, you can log in. And when you log in, that's going to take you to your list. So we've set a list and a floating action button. And once we do that, we can look at the code. We have not coded our floating action button yet, so that's why it's red. We'll take care of that another time. But for now, so we look on here, of course, it's going to set the layout to the restaurant activity layout, wire our widgets, set up our listeners. This is just looking at our menu that we've done. So the context menu is if you were to, we're using that, if you hold down on a restaurant, it pops up the context menu that allows you to delete it. We're creating an array list of all the restaurants that everybody wants to put in there, in their account. An adapter which allows us to communicate. And of course, we're setting the adapter to that for the eatery list. I'm not going to go through the wire widgets. There's nothing special going on there. I guess I should show you just so you can see. Setting up our listeners, we haven't done that yet, which we will do soon. Okay, so this is on resume. So if you pause it and then resume, we're going to load the restaurant data that we had before, which we will go down here to see. And then on pause, again, we're doing these, if you understand the structure of it, that's the best place for us to load and save, is in on pause and on resume, because it's closest to the activity in the hierarchy. And what we're going to do here to load the restaurant data, so we look and see, we're doing an async callback on our backend list. So we're going to take our response, whatever it is, we're going to clear the adapter, put the response in there, let them know that they've changed the data, and set the restaurants to whatever's the response. Again, if there's an issue on backend list's side, they'll send us a message, we'll send it to the user. And this is actually going to do the search. So we can see here the backend list class, the inner class of persistence, the of method on the restaurant, and then of course .finding that, another method. So on the create the context menu, that's if you were to hold the button down, we're going to go ahead and send that inflator to show the screen, the context menu, which we've created, which is basically just giving them the option to delete it. Okay, so then we look and say if we click on the context, so they hold their button down, if they click delete, so it says if they click delete, we're going to go ahead and find that and delete it for them. Otherwise, we're going to leave it alone if they touch somewhere else. Okay, and then finally, if you want to delete an item, which you see we called up here, so we're going to go through and delete the item. So that's going to happen by, we're going to do an async callback. This is allowing us to also delete it in the database. So it takes it, removes it, clears our adapter, loads it with restaurants, lets them know it's changed. Any issues is right there. So that's where we're at right now. And that's about it.